Mr. Murphy, who calls up House Bill 601, printers number 2627 on page 2 of today's House calendar, Supplemental B. Will the House agree the bill? Agreed to. The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill provides for sentences for offenses against infant persons.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? On that question, the Speaker recognizes the gentleman from Lackawanna County, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In advance, I thank my honorable colleagues. I just want to give you a brief history of this bill and how we got to the point where House Bill 601, otherwise known as Zachary's Law bill, came before us here today. This bill's inception began with a constituent of mine who was introduced earlier on the floor, Chrissy McLaughlin, seated to the left of the Speaker. She came to my office over 2 years ago with an idea for critical, meaningful legislation that has evolved into House Bill 601. She and her son, Zachary, are the reason that we're all here today to vote on this important piece of legislation. You see, Chrissy's son, Zachary, was born on March 4th, 2004, and passed away about 14 months later, on May 24th, 2005, as a result of blunt force trauma to his head and abdomen that he received from his attacker. You see, his life was violently taken at the hands of an adult who was entrusted to protect and to care for Zachary. Astonishingly, the punishment for such a profound crime, a crime this heinous, a crime of this nature, a murder of an innocent child, could be as little as 6 years in prison. House Bill 601 makes the point that a child's life must and should be worth much, much more than that. House Bill 601 sends a strong message that the murder of a child is not only evil, but there will be a very severe price to pay for committing such a heinous act. It is unacceptable that in theory, here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a person convicted of a sexual abuse crime, a crime as well, very, very heinous, but still a crime in which there's still a life. But a crime such as rape, they could serve a longer sentence than that of someone convicted of committing third-degree murder, because we currently do have some mandatory minimums with regards to sexual abuse and the conviction of someone who has sexually abused a child. And that mandatory minimum is 10 years here in the state of Pennsylvania. And if there are aggravating circumstances, such as serious bodily harm, the mandatory minimum for that crime would be 25 years to life. The problem one of our other guests had in trying to explain this to a bereaved mother, our Assistant DA, Gene Tallarico from Lackawanna County, is trying to explain how a mother whose child has been taken from her, from this planet, could read in the paper that someone convicted of a sexual crime could receive up to life in prison, where there's a potential possibility for the person that took her son's life to receive as little as 6 years. Creating a minimum threshold of this time to be served for taking the life of a child, while still allowing for a range at sentencing, is the least I believe that we can do to protect our children and to give their survivors some semblance of justice. I'd like to thank the gentleman from Lancaster County and the gentleman from Montgomery County for their tremendous help and support with this bill. I would also like to thank the chairman and the members of the Judiciary Committee for their overwhelming, unanimous support of this bill in committee. And I would also like the staff that has worked on House Bill 601. Ladies and gentlemen, we must make a change in this law and create House Bill 601 to provide for just that. We must stand together and send the message that a child's life is priceless. My colleagues on both sides of the aisle, I'd like to ask for your affirmative vote on House Bill 601. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.